Egypt has initiated plans to reduce power consumption in the country after a heat wave affected energy production, which led to a huge rise in electricity demand as people try to keep cool. Authorities have halted its natural gas exports to meet higher domestic demand and announced it will import more fuel to generate additional electricity. Civil servants have been asked to work from home for 1 day starting this August so that government buildings can reduce their power consumption. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Recent heat waves in Egypt have led to record demand for electricity, which has seen the North African countries suffer from routine power cuts for the first time since 2014. Blackouts have in some cases totaled up to 3 hours daily, divided into 1-hour periods. The government has now announced a new power-saving plan. It says public servants would work from home every Sunday this August when the summer heat peaks. Sunday is a working day in the Middle East.
إن في أيام أجازة الأسبوعية بينخفض الاستهلاك نتيجة طبعا لأن المباني.
It was clear to us that during weekends the demand on power decreases. That's because all public buildings and corporations are closed, so there is no power needed to light them or operate their air conditioning systems. I also encourage the private sectors whose services rely on office work to shift their work offline. There is no option for all of us except to save our consumption of electricity. The more we save, the less the power cuts.
The new government directive, however, doesn't include employees who engage with the public. The cabinet says it will also save power currently used to light up public spaces, including streets. All football matches and sports activities will be held during the day to help conserve power used to light up sporting venues at night. Egyptian Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has also announced that Egypt will import fuel worth about $300 million this August to operate more power plants.
The increase in power demand should have been met with an increase in production. The production didn't increase because the fuel we had wasn't enough. Production at power plants that are operated by mazout and diesel came to a halt because of the abundance in natural gas we had. But when the heat wave came, we didn't have the reserve fuel for these stations to increase electricity power in the grid. These preparations should have been made before the summertime.
On average, Egypt consumes 129 million cubic meters of fuel daily to produce electricity. The country needs up to 165 million cubic meters of fuel to meet peak demand without resorting to power cuts.
Egyptians' average electricity consumption is around 33 gigawatts, 85% of which is produced with carbon fuel. Experts estimate that the deficit in power generation is about 2 gigawatts. In general, Egypt's electricity grid can produce up to 59 gigawatts if all power plants in the country work at their maximum capacity at the same time. Adel Mahroui, CGTN, Cairo.